And then
Excellent.
one of the things I'm keen to do is almost where it's to share the story about how you got to this point, because you've had help from different people along the way. And I always find that it's always nice to kind of shout them out if you're allowed to. I know who they are, but they might not want to be mentioned. So I'll leave that kind of up to you. But almost you've gone through a journey to get from, I guess, the point you've talked about up to, and then you've got a plan to go to Tanzania at some point soon. So before the Tanzania bit, 'cause we'll get onto that, do you want to talk people through the journey in the middle? But
Yeah,
you
I'd
don't
love
have to
to.
if you don't want to.
No, no, I would love to. I think there's a name that I know I can't mention actually, which is unfortunate because it's a great collaboration, I think. But so I think going back to what I said earlier, where the real catalyst to me starting up my cloud coach was the "If We Can, You Can" challenge. And if people have heard me speak about it before, they probably heard me speak about "If We Can, You Can" challenge, because it was such a great way for me to be very safely introduced to the startup world, and also at the same time be given a lot of contacts. So I was immediately pointed in the right direction. Even now, like, people question us, so how do you know about all of these organizations and how are you known by them? Because of the "If We Can, You Can" challenge. So the prize list was, there was like a legal session with Minkoffs. There was one of the most notable ones was a year's mentorship with P&E. So I now have a mentor, Lee, who I meet with monthly, and then from an organisation as like such as P&E, they're able to point you in the right direction even more. So you're piggybacking on two great networks almost within a couple of months of even thinking about the idea. So that's really where it started. Shortly after I was made redundant, I was quickly aware that I needed office space because I was working from my spare room for around 3 weeks, and I just wasn't enjoying it. I mean, it was in the winter months, and obviously the start of the year, it's a challenge anyway. The start of the year, isn't it? And working from home and just losing your job and all of this starting up I just felt like I needed to be around people. I needed to be in a space that was going to kind of facilitate my journey and also support me, and give me advice and stuff like that. So I was at the final of the "If We Can, You Can" challenge at the Baltic. I was invited as a winner of like the ideas prize, the entry level prize, at the highest growth potential and biggest social impact final. I was introduced to Laura Foster, who manages the space at Enterprise Place.
Yeah.
She basically, part of Sunderland University runs a program whereby if you're a student, past student, and you have a business idea, you can pitch it to them, and if they like it, they'll give you 12 months office space, £1,000 funding, and business advisors routinely come in. So then, about 3 weeks after me being made redundant, I had this office space after successfully pitching in the town, and you've met me there, Steve.
Yeah.
So in the Enterprise Place, it's a smart building, isn't it, as well? So
Good coffee.
good coffee, yeah. So a lot of people say that actually. So it's good to be in a place that looks so slick and is so nice to be in. So you can have meetings and you're on your feet, and then you've got this desk for a year, and then from there you've got your base to kind of put your feelers out and do things and reporting every day. You meet other startups which inherently connect you. One thing as well, another early support mechanism for me was the BIC. Kevin, Mark Rees at the BIC, who's a social enterprise guru, you could call him, along with Kate Welsh, who's both equal heavyweights in the social enterprise arena. They were fundamental to me moving forward, accessing unlimited funding to fund social enterprises. And then a real pivotal point in our journey was last April. We met with a philanthropist. I got introduced to him through the Entrepreneurs Forum. Michael Dixon at the Entrepreneurs Forum connected me, or I've even missed, if Janice was to watch this, she would be very upset because I've missed out the most fun. Michael Dixon actually introduced me to a list of mentors, and it had like a bio about each mentor. And Janice stood out immediately, and she taught in Africa. She was born in Africa, taught in Canada, taught in the Middle East, taught in the UK, and then came home and set up a software company. So I was like, okay, this is pretty bang on. in terms of a mentor. So Janice and I met just once in Newcastle, and that relationship evolved into Janice becoming the director of mycloudcoach and really being my main sounding block throughout my entire journey. So really, Janice was the first and most fundamental piece. But back to the Entrepreneurs Forum, Michael Dixon actually, again, so I've got a lot to thank Michael for. He actually introduced me to a guy who is, I think he's on the board at the Entrepreneurs Forum, or maybe he's an active member, called Tony Trapp. And Tony's never actually said, don't mention anything about me, but equally, I think he deserves the credit, because he was early on a guy who we approached just to become an advisor on the board. And he said, you know what, I haven't got any time for that, but I can help you out financially. But he said, I would be advisable for you to set up a charity, because people like me who have foundations set up put money into charities, and that's just the way it works, unless you want to go about changing the whole way it works. I know social enterprises can receive donations, but unless you want to change the culture, then I recommend you do that. So we, from June the 2nd, from April till June the 2nd, so it took us a month and a bit to get all of the constitution and the trustees, and it was like mission register a charity, and we submitted that application on June the 2nd, and it took, I mean, I don't know if you're aware, but a lot of people are, how backlogged the Charity Commission are.
Okay.
So we didn't get our application approved till January the 31st this year. So you imagine, like, so yeah. And that was including 2 rounds of quite rigorous questioning from the Charity Commission. So we finally got our charity registered and bank account set up, which was an equally challenging process. We got rejected by one bank, and then finally set up with the co-op, and then got Tony's donation, which is now going to allow us to travel to Tanzania, allow us to take 5 projectors, take a media guy with us who's going to document the whole trip. And then the plan is to come back with all that footage, all that information, all that user feedback, and launch a crowdfunding campaign.